Peace, 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 peace. Peace world, what is going on? Welcome to another Substantial Weekly. My name is Substantial and welcome back, man. I hope all is well with you and yours in these crazy times. Thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time at the channel, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you can get these weekly updates and other content that I post. Man, super excited to see folks in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's already in here. Shout out to Warpath. Shout out to that guy Frankie. Shout out to John Madison, and also shout out to Kieran Harris. All right, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, family. I remember meeting you at MomoCon. I feel like you're the one that plays some of your tunes for me on SoundCloud, maybe. You know what I mean? Hopefully the old guy memory still doing well. But yeah, man. All right, good to see everybody. Got a lot of stuff to get into today. We are going to be talking about upcoming Blerdcon plans, also talking about my recent visit to the site where they are building the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And I actually didn't go. I was directly across the street from the site where they showcase certain exhibits that they're testing out to put in the museum. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I think I'm feeling generous, and I'm going to share a little piece of a track that I'm working on for my upcoming album called Adultish as well. Like, might let you hear a verse from that. And yeah, man, some other things, you know what I mean? And of course, per usual, we're going to do the live Q&A. But yeah, man, again, if you haven't subscribed already to the channel, make sure you do that. And if you wish to donate to the channel, you can do so via Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Right now, please hold off on using the super chat. I had a meeting with my good folks at YouTube earlier this week, and we're doing our best to resolve the issue to get things back up and running. So those of you who have been supporting through super chat can get back to doing that. But in the meantime, please do so via Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. No pressure to do that. You don't have to. Regardless, I'm here every week doing my thing, but that support is always appreciated. Just know that I'm hard at work, working on these next projects to get to you all. And so the support is always appreciated. All right. Peace. All right. That's what's up. Just switched over to YouTube and subscribed. Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. All right. Let's see. You totally deserved that early chance to see. Oh, man, I appreciate that. Yo, it was a blessing, man. Shout out to Adrian Jones' sister, who is a good friend of our family. Part of our extended family. She's my wife's former professor who invited me to tag along with her when I was in New York a couple weeks ago to check it out. So it was a huge honor and a pleasure, man. And it was just a dope weekend in general. So we'll get into that in a few. But let's go ahead and start, man. If you haven't already, make sure you say peace. Let us know where you're tuning in from, all that good stuff, and we'll jump into it. So first and foremost, I wanted to remind you guys, for those of you who don't know, I actually have a podcast called ARTdustry. We are on season 3 now, and season 3 is sponsored by the good folks at Words, Beats, and Life. Thank you so much to them for being a sponsor for our podcast. They are our first official sponsor. So, we've been doing this for 3 seasons now, and it's dope to get that support from them. And it's been great. We've already had a really dope season so far. We've interviewed, shout out to visual artist Andy Katz, who's worked with Public Enemy and Chuck D. Shout out to A1 as well, who's been a guest on the show this season. And we also had Feast of Burden, Nicole and Adrian, good friends of ours, good friends of the show as well. They are... They both have a visual arts and marketing background, but they have a company that specializes in different items that basically will make your dinner a bit more fancy and enjoyable. So we have all types of artists that come on this show to talk about what it's like to be full-time creatives and to run their business. And our next guest is the first time we've had actual blood relative on the show. We got Chef JB who's coming on the show. He's our first culinary artist, and that's coming up next Tuesday instead of Monday. You can tune in for that. And if you don't have a link to the show, no worries. That should pop up in the chat in a moment. but definitely tune in, man. It's going to be a great, we had a great time interviewing them. It's also our first show that's going to be pre-recorded. So it's going to be a little bit different, but it's still going to be dope. So definitely tune in for that. And link for Artistry is right there in the chat. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. You can stream the podcast as well. You don't have to watch it on YouTube. You can actually just stream it on anywhere where you stream podcasts. It should be available. And so please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Check out some of the back episodes too. In the catalog, we've had dope guests like Verbal from Inflow, Funky DL, Shingo 2, Marcus D. We've had various types of arts administrators and arts educators. And just, all types of creatives, man, have been on the show. Katie Fox is a former guest of the show. Marcus J. Moore, who's a writer and he's an author now. He wrote a book about Kendrick Lamar called The Butterfly Effect, which is out right now. So we covered that. I covered him and his experience, and he's from Landover, so that was super dope. But yeah, definitely check out Artistry. I can't stress that enough. And thank y'all to those of you who are already hip and have already been supporting that show, man. And shout out to my wife, my business partner, who I call her the Black Barbara Walters, because she is the one who leads the interviews most times, and I'm really just doing my best to basically make the show run as smoothly as possible and really follow her lead. So it's a great experience, man. You get to see us do our tag team thing, man, and chop it up with old friends of ours in the industry. All right. So up next, I am excited to talk about Blerdcon. Blerdcon is coming up. For those of you who do not know what Blerdcon is a convention that celebrates all things nerd culture, specifically the Black experience in these spaces. And so they highlight various Black creatives who work in the industry and others who are on the come up. They also have various events and performances and cosplay competitions, really dope food. If you're a person who got to look fresh before you get out the door, it is a Black convention. So believe it or not, they have a barber on site, multiple barbers on site, which is super dope. So it's like, it's just so many different parts of the Black experience and the Black nerd experience that are at this convention. And it's open to everyone, you know what I mean? It's just the emphasis on people of color in this space who largely get overlooked when they are attending other cons or trying to participate as a featured guest in other cons, So definitely come check that out. It's going to be super dope. I'll be there, and we're going to jump into exactly what I plan on doing there. So the theme for this year is homecoming, and it's going to be really, really dope. It's happening July 8th through the 10th. And this is one of the events that we're going to be doing there. Shout out to Luna Bunny, who actually did the illustrations that you see here, and then some of the design was done by me. But we're doing a new event, and when I say we, I'm talking about Substantial Art and Music, my company that I run with my wife that created the show, the podcast, Artistry. But we're doing an event called Sketch Pads, right? Where it's a live art and music lounge. So what we're doing is we're going to have a visual artist who will have their tablet connected to the screen, and you will be able to see them do live art, right? While I'm doing a live beat set. Now, every time that we do this going forward, it's not always going to be the same guest. So even though I'm doing the beat set at this first one, for our next one, which will likely be at Otakon, which will be at later this July. I can't believe it's July already. It sounds like my youngest is having a hard time. She always wants to be in here with me when I do this, but you know what it is, right? Daddy got to work. So anyway, basically we are working on setting up Otakon as well for our future event, and also like art centers, museums, and various people who operate in different art spaces and are interested in having this art and music lounge be brought to them. And so how the event's going to work, the homie Julian Lytle, who's an amazing visual artist who I went to Pratt Institute with in Brooklyn, New York. He's done DC Comics Swamp Thing. He's worked with Array, that's Ava DuVernay's company. He's also worked with DC Comics to consult on some of the TV content that they've put out because of his vast knowledge of their comics. And he also did something with Heavy Metal magazine. So he's going to be drawing live while I'm playing beats. But we're also excited to announce we're announcing the cosplayers tomorrow. I think we're announcing the first. But we have 2 cosplayers who are also going to be joining us, and official guests of Sketchpads, and they're going to be acting as figure models. So if you come through to this event, what'll happen is you'll see little baggies all over the place that basically have art supplies in there. Given to us by our sponsors. Shout out to Words, Beats, and Life again, and Blick Arts Material, and of course the homies Bites and Beats, who've worked really hard. Shout out to my man IQ to make sure that people of color get an opportunity to showcase their talents in these various spaces. And so shout out to our sponsors. So you'll have these little baggies that actually have art supplies in them. So basically you'll get a free sketch pad. I think it's a 5x7 sketch pad, and you'll also receive some pencils. So if you don't have any art materials on you, you don't have your tablet with you, you don't have your sketchbook or anything on you, if you just show up at the event, you can pick up one of these bags and there'll be art materials already inside, and you can join in. You can sketch. Either just sketch off the top whatever you want to draw. Maybe you want to draw the musician, or you want to be an artist drawing another artist working on art, or you can draw the cosplayers. But you just hang out, man, and it's just going to be some chill beats playing, some instrumentals playing, a little bit of talk. You can also ask us questions if you want, and just come hang out, man, for just under 2 hours and stuff at the convention. Maybe get a break from some of the other stuff, or if you're just kind of looking for a place to hang out, maybe you want to, enjoy some art while you crush whatever meal you got lined up, whatever, you know what I mean? But come hang with us. It's happening on Saturday is when we're doing this at 2 p.m. to 3:50 p.m. So definitely come check that out. That is the first event we got going on. Oh man, thank you, man. Appreciate it, Warpath. Warpath showing all the love. Shout out again to Luna Bunny, who killed it on the illustration. And I just tried to make her illustrations look as dope as possible with a little bit of design accents. I said it before, but I'll say it again. This sounds like it would be like paradise for me, along with my kind of people. Word. So yeah, man. So definitely come check it out. It's going to be exciting. All right. Let's get into what the next event that we're doing. The next event that we're doing at Blerdcon, which will likely be happening that evening, and sorry if it's cutting off the flyer a little bit, but we're doing something basically called, it's called Funding Your Art and Creating Passive Income. And it's going to be happening also Saturday, July 9th at 8 p.m. And basically, and it's going to be happening in the Roosevelt room. The other event is going to be happening in the Jefferson room. So definitely come check this out if you are a visual artist or a musician who's just trying to figure out creative ways to fund what you do. Maybe you need help looking into information about grants. Maybe you need help finding information about crowdfunding, so you could successfully crowdfund one of your own projects. Whatever it is, whatever questions you have, definitely come to this. It's going to be just under an hour long. And so we'll be providing as much information as we can to help our fellow creatives per usual, as we always do at Substantial Art and Music. And I think that if you're a creative that's going to be in the building that particular day, you would benefit greatly from attending our events. Shout out to many of the creatives who supported us over the years by attending these events and who have benefited greatly from the information we've provided. And a lot of our clients can tell you the same, man, that, it's no shortage of information being given out at these events. So while there are lots of other far more entertaining things that are going to be happening at the convention, if you're a person who's there to network, this is a place you want to be in. This is a panel that you definitely want to be in. Now, before I keep it moving and get into the next thing, I just wanted to give y'all a heads up in terms of where we'll be located at the convention. Because as I said, that flyer that I was rushing to get that up and it was slightly cropped. But just for you to, for those of you who plan on attending, this is where you can find us all weekend. We will be at, our booth is booth D29 and 30. So you can find Substantial Art and Music. You can come and find merch. You can come pick up a Black of All Trades shirt like I'm wearing right now. You can get stickers. You can get vinyl. You can get CDs. All of that good stuff. Get some pictures with us. All of that. Come hang out. Ask some questions. Whatever. At our booth, which is D29 and 30. We'll also be joined with some of the folks from Words, Beats, and Life as well, so you can learn more about that organization and the great work that they're doing. And also, if you're a arts educator, you definitely want to come and talk to Words, Beats, and Life, who will be joining us at the booth, because they do a lot of great work in the community, and they'll be giving out some information about how you can be a part of their organization as an arts educator. So if you're a person who's looking for opportunities to get paid as a creative, and more importantly, give back to the community by sharing your talents, you should definitely come through our booth, which again is D29 and D30, all weekend in the exhibition hall. All right. Hey, peace. What's going on, Tommy? Good to see you up in this joint. Thanks for joining us. All right. So that's about it for all the Blerdcon announcements. We'll jump into the Q&A a bit later, but if you do have questions related specifically to Blerdcon, how you can attend, definitely go to blerdcon.com and you can grab your tickets there for it if you don't have tickets already. It's happening at the Hyatt Regency at Ronald Reagan Airport, and that is happening July 8th through the 10th, and you can purchase tickets again at blerdcon.com. All right, so let's keep it moving. So many other things to get into. We're gonna try to be quick about it though. Next up, we're gonna talk about the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which I am beyond excited about. And if you haven't liked this video already, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, make sure you like, share, whatever it is you can do on whatever platform you're doing. It's greatly appreciated. All right, because we're gonna get into the next thing. So next up, we're going to talk about this event here, Revolution of Hip Hop, 1986 to 1990, the golden era of hip hop. So this event just happened earlier this week, and this exhibit will actually be up for a bit. This was put together by the Universal Hip Hop Museum, and it's located over at Bronx Terminal Market in the Bronx, New York. This event was pretty dope. I wasn't able to attend the actual grand opening, but as they were building it, as they were setting up the exhibit, I had the pleasure of being able to attend, as I mentioned earlier in the show, with Adrian Jones, who's a professor at at Pratt Institute and a former guest of ARTdustry. So, man, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna show you all a couple pictures from the event. I'm gonna show you a brief video as well from the event. It was super, super dope. I am so excited for the opening of the Universal Hip Hop Museum, man. Like, oh my God, I can't even express the amount of, excitement I feel for that, just to see the history of our culture being preserved in this way, and and the community being able to have access to it, and it being built in the Bronx, which is dope in itself. So yeah, man, without further ado, let's get into these pictures. I'll show you a quick video clip as well, but let's talk about it, man. Now keep in mind, this is what it looked like before it actually opened. I didn't put all of the pictures that I have because a lot of the things weren't done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these pictures and video clips and string them all together so you guys can check it out. And I'll put that in a separate video on the channel. But in the meantime, here are some of the photos that I took. And keep in mind, this was before the grand opening. All right. So right here, it breaks down what the golden era was. This is one of the first things you see when you walked into space, talking about the different technological and artistic advancements and stuff, the lyrical skills of Rakim, Kool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, and others, which, as my brother Mecca is broken down, there's a video clip of Mecca breaking it down, Mr. Mech, where he breaks down how, like, no matter what rapper you talk about nowadays, you can pretty much connect them all with some of the earliest rappers in hip hop, like basically how certain rappers laid the foundation for everybody else in terms of how you deliver your rhymes, what you talk about, etc. You know what I mean? Rakim obviously changed the way people rap. Coogee Rap and other rappers like Schoolie D, laid foundation for people talking about the streets and different things, whether we talking about gangster rap, et cetera, et cetera. Big Daddy Kane in terms of like punchlines and being witty and then working the whole like ladies man image and stuff. Of course, artists like LL as well. And then also like the production, like with people like Marley Marl and Prince Paul. If you're a person who loves lo-fi, right? Marley Marl and Prince Paul laid foundation for so much of the lo-fi, and also boom bap and jazz rap, right? Like, because if you look at the people who ultimately get credited as pushing forward or laying foundation for lo-fi, the reality of it is these producers I just mentioned, they're the ones they were listening to. You see what I'm saying? Like, Dilla was a fan of Pete Rock. Pete Rock was a huge fan of Marley Marl. You know what I mean? There's no way to get away from these pioneers, right? Like, regardless to who you want to credit for it. All right. Let's backtrack real quick. See these comments. Yes, indeed. Yeah, man. Hey, what's going on, Steph? Peace. Good to see you, sis. Word. Marley Marl forever. Oh my God. Marley Marl was a beast. Hey, what's going on, Trey? Thanks for tuning in. All right. Thanks for joining the show. So yeah, man, let's get in. What more could I say? I couldn't be here today if the old school didn't pave the way. Super facts. Great quote. Shout out to the Tupac song that was on Me Against the World that I actually sampled that line. All right. But let's get into some other images. Man, oh man, this joint was crazy. Like when you walked into the space, this was the first thing you'd see. As you can see, based on that wall, clearly it wasn't finished, right? The installation wasn't finished yet. But man, that chair right there, if you're a fan of Slick Rick, you already know like what that is. And for those who don't know what Slick Rick is one of the greatest storytellers in hip hop. You should definitely look him up. Children's Story, The Moment I Fed, Hey Young World, so many different like just Behind Bars, so many different super dope joints that Slick Rick was responsible for. This was his throne that he used to tour with, right? Like you'd see him on tour and this was the throne that would be on stage when he would do his thing, man. It was just super crazy to see that the moment you walk into the space. And so that, needless to say, I was excited. You know what I mean? Let's see. Children's Story has to be my favorite. Yeah, Children's Story is crazy. The Ruler. Absolutely. Shout out to Slick Rick, man. One of the greatest to ever do it for sure. So now, hey, man, this right here was crazy. So after seeing that, you'd walk behind this door and everything would be dark. And you would just see this thing that says, push it. And it was funny because the person who was giving us our tour guide, our tour guide who was giving us our tour, he basically was like, all right. Someone was like, hey, look, that button says push it. And they was like, oh, like salt and pepper. And so then the tour guy said, make sure you push it real good. Like the song. I was like, hey, man, I love this place. You know what I'm saying? Dad jokes. And so, so when you pushed it, this is what the room looked like. These lights started moving, right? And what was super dope is there were moments that the lights actually created patterns in words, people's faces. And then while you saw this, music started playing. It was crazy, man. I can't size it enough. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put all the sauce on it, bro. Like it was super dope to see. I see y'all laughing at the push it real good joint. Now look, but what was crazy, like I'm gonna show y'all what it looked like, and you're probably gonna see me using this video that I'm about to show you. You're gonna see me using this on Spotify as my canvas because when I captured it, it was just too crazy. But I'm gonna just put this up for a second, let it run, and check out this video. Man, hey, I can't stress to y'all enough how dope the place was. And keep in mind, it was not even finished, fam. Like, this is just like, yeah. Anyway, super dope. So we'll keep it moving. Now, this area, right, when you when you walked around the corner away from the lights, you got to see this area here, which has some old school graffiti. And then these right here, which, like, if you're familiar with bodegas in New York, when they, came in at the middle. Hey, Trey, I'm going to remind you, if you hang in there for a second, once I finish these last two photos, I'll break down exactly what everyone is looking at. But this is all connected to the Universal Hip Hop Museum that is in the Bronx, New York. But I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to come back to your question. All right, so this particular area here, where you got the old school graffiti joints, these things that you're looking at, which looks like the bodegas where they pull down the gate to cover the doors and close it, those aren't the actual gates, even though they look like it. What they actually are, those are screens. Those are touch screens. So basically they're saying when it's fully open, what's going to end up happening is these touch screens, you can basically do like graffiti over the top of the bodega gates. And then after, like, you finish painting over it or whatever, you can clear it out so somebody else can put their tags and all that stuff on there too. So those aren't actually the real gates. Those are actually touch screen displays that you can tag up and stuff, which was insane. Super dope. All right. And so here's another highlight that I'm going to show you guys real quick before I go and get to the other stuff. So, hey, man. Before I tell y'all who this is, I want to see if anybody in the chat can guess. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a second, collect your thoughts, see if you know, if you could tell me who that is. Anybody. Yo, it is a great concept stuff. Yo, it's crazy. Is he a drummer? No, he's not a drummer. So I'll give you a hint. He is an MC. And he was a part of a group that had the number 3 in their name. All right. See if y'all know. Waiting in the chat. Waiting to see if. Hey, good job, Steph. Steph knows. Yep, he's from the group Third Base. All right. So, yeah, man. So he is from the group Third Base. Let's see if someone can guess his name. He looked like somebody pops. Of course he looked like somebody pops, man. He's an old school legend. You know what I mean? Is that Pete Rock? That is not Pete Rock. But you got half his name right. Half his name, yep. One part of his name is Pete. Let's see. Pete Nice. There it is. Yeah, man. That is the legendary Pete Nice of the group Third Base. That is the partner of MC Search. MC Search was responsible for giving us Nas. Yep, not MC Search. Yep, Pete Nice. That's Pete Nice. Good job, y'all. Clap it up for yourselves. Clap it up for yourselves. All right. Yeah, man. So I got the pleasure of meeting Pete Nice. Shout out to the homie Ethan, who's an intern with the museum, who introduced me. Yeah, man. Look at that. Teamwork make the dream work. Proud of y'all. Haven't seen Pete Nice in a long time. Yeah, man, he just been on the low. Where's the cane, though? He did not have the cane on him. Good. That's what's up. But yeah, man. So for those who don't know, that's the legendary Pete Nice. He was part of a group called Third Base. They were known for a song called The Gas Face. A lot of people forget, but the first time I ever heard Zev Love X, better known as MF Doom, was on a song called Gas Face, which was on Third Base's album. So shout out to them because they helped. I mean, man, that group helped usher in a lot of amazing people. Like, a lot of people heard Zev Love X, aka MF Doom, for the first time with Third Base. And then later on, we got put on the Nas through MC Search. So like, with songs like Back to the Grill Again. And of course, everybody first heard him on the Main Source song and stuff. But MC Search had a lot to do with Nas's career, and because of how Nas's album was done, with MC Search's help, where they got all of these legendary producers to do a bunch of different tracks. That was the first hip hop album that ever really did that, which kind of changed, which changed how hip hop albums were made going forward. So his group is really significant in terms of what they did with hip hop, and it was super dope to see him there, and to know that, you know, that somebody like him is involved with the museum. He actually works for the museum. So that that warmed my heart. And he was super humble, man. He was so cool about it when I met him and everything, man. And so here's an old school flick right here. This is a legendary photo. That's Pete Nice right there with the legendary Eazy-E. And I want to see, of course, you can tell, I know y'all know who that is in the background with the hat with the blue collar. That's Dr. Dre. But now I want you to tell me who that guy behind Eazy-E is. Let's see if y'all can guess. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Somebody else might be able to prove me wrong, but I think I know who it is. I already mentioned his name several times because I remember what he looked like before. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's history. Man, all of them in the building. There you go. Somebody got it. Yes, that's MF Doom in the background. Yup. That's MF Doom right there behind Eazy-E. But that was back when he went with Zev Love X. Hey, listen, this song right here that makes beats. If you don't know this song, if you say you're a fan of jazz hop, right, and you're a fan of like lo-fi beats or like jazzy hip hop, go look up that song Peach Fuzz and go hear that beat and with that xylophone sample. That beat is fire, fam. I love that song to this day. Definitely check that song out. It's a song that used to get a whole bunch of play. You used to hear it on the radio all the time. I used to have this single. Shout out to KMD. I don't think Phife Dawg is in that picture at all. And that's not Phife Dawg. That's MF Doom in the back. All right. I'm going to sit down because I'm an OG and I know all these guys. Nah, man, listen. But you doing it right, man. We're like, this is how the information get passed, right? This is how we preserve our history. This is how we let the next generation know. You know what I mean? When Shock G passed, Search posted he and Shock vibed about them both were involved in the starts of Legends. Yeah, for sure, man. Rest in peace to Shock G. Shock G was man, listen, Digital Underground was one of my favorite groups back in the day. And that's not something that a lot of people say. But I don't care, man. I tell people all the time, I used to get in debates with dudes in New York about it in terms of what no Digital Underground, no Shock G, no Tupac. You know what I mean? No MC Search, no Third Base. It was like, do we have Nas, right? Does Nas' career does he become as legendary as he becomes without MC Search? Like, yo, like, there are plenty of unknown artists that are directly connected with some of the most influential people to ever do it. And these people, you will never know who they are most of the time because they're not always celebrated the same way the legend is celebrated. But they're important, they're integral parts of the foundation of these artists' careers. So, yeah, man, rest in peace to Eazy-E and Zev Love X, aka MF Doom. You know what I mean? Word. Fun fact, I used to work with one of Phife Dawg's sisters. Hey, that's what's up. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg as well. So, yeah, man, let's go ahead and take a break from that. I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. Like I said, it was so dope. For those of you who tuned in the middle of that, just to backtrack to let you know what it was we were just looking at. I'll bring it up on the screen again. But yeah, so basically what it was the grand opening of the Revolution of Hip Hop exhibit where they were talking about the golden era of hip hop. And so I got to visit and check it out before it was opened up to the public earlier this week. I got to check it out. And yeah, man, they told me not to post any pictures or any video content until it opened up on the 28th. And that is why we're here looking at it now. So I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. And it was, Pete had some great, Pete did have some great verses. Pete was nice. MC Search was more popular and stuff, but Pete Nice, I mean, man, he earned his name. He was definitely nice with it, yo. He was no slouch with the bars. All right. See, some of those, I'm well aware of their work and contributions, but I don't recognize all of them by face. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. All right. So on that note, man, let's keep it moving. We used to always debate between the two. Yeah, but you know what? That's a good sign that you got a great group, right? Like if you can't have a debate about who's the better member of the group, then that lets you know that like, yo, this is not a well-balanced group. If you talk to the, like, because there are certain groups that are extremely well balanced in terms of actual skill, and then you got others that are more well balanced in terms of personality, but someone is clearly more skilled than the other. But most of the greatest groups of all time are extremely well balanced, and you will have people debate and argue over who's the better member, right? So like groups like Tribe Called Quest, people love Q-Tip's voice, and a lot of people didn't know he did the beats. And so there were always debates over who was better, Tip or Fife, right? Helter Skelter is another one. I would hear people debate over who was better, Rockness or Sean P. You know what I mean? And so so many of them, man. Like I could keep on going. Wu-Tang's another great example with a group with that many members, and for people to constantly be debating on who their favorite member was or who was the best lyrically. You know what I mean? She looked just like him, green eyes and all. She was sweet. That's what's up. All right. I don't recognize my own face from 30 years ago. That's hilarious. It definitely speaks to the balance. Nah, for real, for real. Yeah, hey, De La Soul is another great example of that. You know what I mean? Like, both are dope, and I have favorite verses from each, and I really, like, they're one of those groups. I don't have a favorite member. Like, I love them together. You know what I mean? I'd say Brand Nubian would be well balanced. What would you say, Stan? I think they became the bit more well balanced. Well, no, I was gonna say they were a bit more well balanced once Grand Puba was out of the group, because Grand Puba was just like, this dude was a star. Like the moment you heard him and stuff, most people was like, yo, Puba's the illest. But I am one of the few people out there with Sadat X to this day is my favorite member of Brand Nubian, with Grand Puba and without Grand Puba. I can spit whole verses from Sadat X. He got some of my favorite lines. You know what I mean? Like Sadat X was definitely super underrated as a member of Brand Nubian. But I do feel like they were a pretty well balanced group. Right, Ruck and Rock was similar, and yeah, De La, I didn't even know Paz was the leader until later. Word. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. I'm glad y'all enjoyed those photos, man, and that little stroll down memory lane. So look, I'm about to give y'all a little update on Sadat got that voice, the Wild Cowboy. Hey, man, I still got that solo album. One of my favorite Sadat verses was a song called Down for the Real. When they did their Everything is Everything album, that album had a couple tracks that had some West Coast influence, because they started to get more love out in the West Coast after they were on the Menace to Society soundtrack. And the song called Down for the Real, the original version was on that soundtrack, and then they had another version that had more of a West Coast style beat that was on the album, and they had O-Dog and all of them voices sampled on another track on that album called Down for the Real. And yo, Sadat verse, oh my God. Real lifestyle where niggas run wild. Day after day, the product line is a mile. A nigga got his eye aimed on what's mine. I got to lay low cause my PO is thorough. He keep checking every borough cause my address pad is thick. Niggas be got the wild cause the girl be on my dick. This kid uptown don't like me. Say he want me dead. He even put up cash, put a price on my head. At first I didn't sweat it till my little man got hit. Had a lot of thrills, now he buried in the Catskills. Rumor has it that being with me is a target. My crew know nothing less, so we resort to wearing a vest. Ain't got no type of plans, just me giving my mans. They be drawing up plans that include the use of guns. I might mess that up. So we spend on trying to stay good lives, so we spend on use of funds. A month or two goes, a whole year blows as we stay on our toes, as we guzzle on the Moet. Two drunken poets when the first shots hit. My man don't duck quick, gets hit in the chest. I just got nicked cause I had on a vest. fast, now I'm dashing. Running through my garage, run past the path, run past the Dodge, fumble for my keys, made it to my shit. AK can spray, now niggas getting hit. Are you down for the real? Hey, bro, I used to listen to that album so much, fam. And then what's the line? Yo, and then what's the joint? The joint from Minister Society. I forget what the name of the track was, but both Lord Jamar and Sadat verses on that joint was stupid. I think Lord Jamar's first line was like, "You like to taste the leg, get your face fed. After I'm done, you'd rather suck on pencils." Like, that's how he started. And then Sadat got he got the hardest line on the song, where he talks about he basically talks about like the movie and how like the family's worried about him, so they try to move him out of town, like what happens in the movie, right? And so he has a line about that in the song, where they talk about so the family wanted to move me down to Alabama. I got a cousin who say she got some friends, say they strictly fucking, I can get away from bucking. And then he goes like this. He say something like, I told her sex is everywhere. He's like, sex is everywhere. Sex is but a word. Ain't shit I ain't heard. Hey, yo, you gotta understand, teenage Stan was, listening to these dudes like, yo, how does your mind work like this, fam? Sex is but a word. Ain't shit I ain't heard. It's the hardest line I ain't heard at the time. But yeah, man, shout out to Brand Nubian, man. So let's keep it moving. All right, let's jump into the chat real quick. I remember that whole joint. That's love. Yeah, man, it's a classic. Love to see it. D Nice did a dope short video with Sadat after he got out of jail. Word, that's what's up. Sadat's also an educator, man. There's a lot of hip hop educators. A lot of people don't know that hip hop has so many teachers. Got them going. Yeah, man, you got me excited. Yeah, got me talking about these legends. Remember, we did that show with Sadat X in Philly. I absolutely remember that. You know what I mean? He had some great lines in that. Yeah, he did. It's so many bars in that joint. To be fair, that's still a badass line. That line is hard forever. Forever. Yeah, man. But anyway, so let's keep it moving, right? So next up, before we end with Q&A, and you can start throwing your questions in there. I know sometimes it takes a minute, but if you got questions, go ahead and throw them in there. I'm gonna play y'all a sample. So right now, I am working hard on adulting. I am at the midway point in terms of how many tracks I got for it. And that's not including the original songs, that were going to be on it that I ended up putting on other things. Songs like What I've Been Saying, songs like Dedicated and Driven, and Your Greatest Weapon, which for a hot second I was debating whether or not I was going to use it for Animal Arithmetic, even though I got the ideas from Animal Arithmetic. As quick as I made that beat, I was like, I don't know. Kind of feel. So I'm debating that when I drop the album, I might put a version of the album out that has those 3 tracks as bonus tracks. But anyway, outside of those tracks, I'm halfway through. I got 5 tracks in the bag. I also have a joint with Mega Ran that's done. Speaking of Mega Ran and I were talking yesterday. We got another collab with Novelist. We got a song with Novelist that is dropping in August. So be on the lookout for that. When we get a bit closer, I'll play y'all a piece of that song. But the song's already done and it's going to be released in August. It's really dope. I'm excited for y'all to hear that. So anyway, let's hear a joint. So I'm only going to play, I'm not going to play all of it. And I got to, hold on, get my headphones situated so I can keep track of, because if I don't plug this in, I won't be able to keep track of where we are in the song. Hold on. All right. Check 1, 2. Let's see. All right. So this track right now, I have a working title for it, which is Rap Reed Richards, or I might call it Mr. Fantastic, or I might just call it Stantastic. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, shout out to Mega Ran, man. Such a great dude. But yeah, so I'm gonna play this joint for y'all, and yeah, Again, I'm only gonna play a verse. I'm not gonna play the whole joint. Depending on how y'all dig it, I might make this rough draft available on Patreon. I'm trying to redo some things at Patreon. Not trying. I am currently redoing some things at Patreon, and I will have some announcements for y'all soon. I'm just trying to, not trying. I have someone working on a certain part of what's going to be relaunched with Patreon. So I don't want to get into what that is until it's done. But there will be a portion of it that's available to everybody as well. So anyway, here is the track. Current title is Rap Reed Richards. And I'm going to give you the first verse. Here we go. Let's see how it go. Oh, hold on. Try that again. Let me know what y'all think in the chat.
Clap for me. They said, Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose for I black on it. Triple R to y'all rap read bitches. Stretch money instead of truth, bro. I mean business. Enough load to fill a ravine. You should bring pictures. When the beat got that swing, you won't need pictures. On the mound, throwing it down, stand delivers. All pro, I ain't a goddamn beginner. Picks after the show, then let a man eat dinner. Too focused on A to see what plan B get us. Now be fade with some gray on the sides. Omni-man stand when that pen and paper can lie. They lied and said you was the truth, but now your status denied. This life forever die, waiting for the pain to subside. Ooh. Classic over Trinity, bro, I'm still here. Holla at me in a decade if they still care. When you fall and bounce back, if they still cheer, then you're worthy to wield the mic like it's millionaire. I'm still in here, still prepared to take what I earn. Y'all some Build-A-Bears and built the bear, the weight of the world. I've been the realest here, that's on my soulmate and my girls. Who you feel compared to me really ain't my concern. Is he dope? Ain't that debate, cause most will say he underrated. A couple takes a state that he a great or just the greatest. Some artists focus less on albums, just don't make a playlist. I choose the former, but I hope the latter choose my latest. Clap for me. They said, Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose for I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God bodies, rosters, hip hoppers, not for the imposters, nah, bro.
Yeah, man. All right. So that is the snippet for y'all that I had in store, man. Let's talk about it. Let me know what you think, all that good stuff. Hey, Corn God, I got your question. I'm gonna answer that in a second. Let's see. Hey, Steph, thank you. Warm my whole heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, sis. Glad you enjoyed that joint. Oh man, that instrumental, I probably won't hear anything better this whole week. So I produced it. So that just cites my whole life right now. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nice flow. Good looking. Good looking. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Thank you. My speakers want to blast this right now. That's what's up. Back to battle rap roots. Nice. Yeah, man. Snuck in that Redman. I see, you know, I'm a super Redman fan, so I had to, you know. But yeah, man, thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to do a joint where I had fun. The reason why I called it, good looking. Thank you, Frankie. So the reason, and I played that beat on the show a couple weeks ago when I first made it, and solid all the way around. Thank you. Yeah, man, I just, I really, really like that beat. Initially, I was thinking to have somebody else on it. I think I'm gonna put them on a different track though. And basically, I was in here joking one day with the family, and we've been talking about cosplaying as a family at some point, like basically doing a Fantastic Four thing, where like I'm Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, and then the missus would be the Invisible Woman, and then have my oldest daughter do basically do Johnny, basically be Johnny, and then my youngest daughter has been Grimm. And so yeah, man, Johnny Storm, that's what I was trying to think. And so like that was something we've been talking about a bit. And then and my wife was asking why I had the idea, and like the way my gray has been coming in, where I got like gray on the sides and stuff. More gray on the sides than the top, and of course my chin is just grayed out. I was reading one of the comics one day, and I was like, man, I'm turning into Reed Richards over here, son. You know what I mean? And I was like, then I thought of this line, where I basically, I said, I had this punchline. The opening line from the track made me basically kind of go with that. And so just to spit the verse for y'all real quick before we get into this Q&A. Basically, so here's the verse again for those who missed all the lines. It's just the first verse. Second verse is crazier than the first, but I ain't gonna play that today. So it's like triple R for y'all rap, Reed Richards, stretch money instead of truth, bro, I mean business. Enough flow to fill a ravine, you should bring pictures. When the beat got that swing, you gonna need pictures. On the mound, throwing it down, stand delivers. All pro, I ain't a goddamn beginner. Picks after the show, now let a man eat dinner. Too focused on A to see what plan B get us. Nappy fade with some gray on the sides. Omni-man stand when that pen and paper collide. They lied and said you was the truth, but now you status denied. This slap forever die, waiting for the pain to subside. Oh, classic over trendy, bro, I'm still here. Holler at me in a decade if they still care. When you fall and bounce back, if they still cheer, then you're worthy to wield the mic like it's millionaire. I'm still in here, still prepared to take what I earn. Y'all some build-a-bears ain't built to bear the weight of the world. I've been the realest here, that's on my soulmate and my girl. So who you feel compared to me really ain't my concern. Is he dope? Ain't a debate, cause most will stay he underrated. A couple takes the state that he a great or just the greatest. Some artists focus less on albums, just on making playlists. I choose the former, but I hope the latter choose my latest. But yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. So look, thanks for the love on the track, man. I appreciate all the comments. Good looking out. But yeah, let's get into these questions. Questions. All right, first question. Corn God said, what does music mean to you? Man, it is almost, I feel like I haven't thought of a way yet to answer that does not sound generic. Every time, and I think it's because it means so much. Like words feel like they cheapen what it means to me and what it's meant to my life. And so, it's not an exaggeration to say that it saved my life. A lot of times people say that because sometimes they're dealing with depression, or they're dealing with other life issues, and they hear the right song, and that song just kind of lifts their mood and encourages them, inspires them to do certain things. So I've had those experiences, but I've literally had experiences where being somewhere doing music kept me out of a situation where I could have been killed, like in real life. So I don't just say music saved my life as a way, like, just on some metaphorically speaking, like I was thinking about killing myself and it helped me, right? Like I'm not saying it like that, because I've had bouts of depression and all of that. So it has helped me in that way. However, at one point I was in Pittsburgh staying with my girlfriend's brother out there at the time. And I literally was working on a demo, doing like performances. I was battling out there. I was doing all of this stuff. This is still while I'm in high school. When I came back, the two dudes I kicked it with every day. I hung with these dudes every day. Both these dudes got shot. Like I spent my whole summer hanging with these dudes. The only time I wasn't hanging with them was when I went to Pittsburgh to go do my thing. And then when I came back, I saw them a bit less because they were healing up from being shot. And so as soon as I got back in town, the homies told me what happened to them, and that's immediately where my mind went, because I saw these dudes every day. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So music is everything to me. It literally empowered me in ways that allowed me not only to change my life, but more importantly, helped me change other people's lives and other people's circumstances. And it gave my voice global reach, which was, just the power that you feel in that, and also the responsibility that comes with that. You know what I mean? At least for me, I can't speak for everyone else, but I take that very seriously. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, thank you for the question. All right, let's keep it going. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I see y'all referring to the verses right now. Warpath says, I got a few questions today, so I'll start. Funny one for starters. Is there any slang term or phrase everyone uses but you cannot stand? I don't know if there's anyone that like makes me cringe like that. I don't know if I got one that when I hear it, I'm like, yo, y'all sound stupid to me. Yeah, nah, not like that. I'm so used to slang being what it is. I mean, and then as somebody who travels, like having to adjust, and it's been like that since I was younger. You know what I mean? Like I had a stint where I stayed in Cali for a certain amount of months with my uncle. So, picking up on their slang and then their accents and all of that. And then how that influenced me when I came back home. It was like people like saying things like, you talk funny. I'm like, dog, I just spent 2 months in San Diego, son. Like, you know what I'm saying? I sound different because I'm a kid and I've been hanging around a bunch of people in Southern Cali for like the last 2 months. So I was picking up on certain things. So I don't know. I don't really there's no slang word that like really bugs me like that. I'll tell this story though. At one point, and Steph, you can let me know if I'm out of pocket or if I'm on point. You know what I mean? As an ambassador of the LGBTQ community, you're our in-house ambassador. So when I first moved back to the DMV, one of the slang words that like I was accustomed to saying before I moved from the DMV, we used to call everybody Joe. You know what I mean? Which is a line you hear me say in Home Sweet Home, right? Don't care what your name is because everybody's Joe, because that's what we used to say. But when I came back, people were calling each other Mo, right? Or calling people they would interact with, they would call them Mo. And for a second, that was strange to me. I didn't have I didn't have any hate for it or anything, but it was strange to me simply because in New York where I just live, and I don't know if strange is the right word, but it kind of took me aback because in New York, people would say, when they were disrespecting certain people, whether they were talking to someone who was gay or they were talking to someone who was straight but was doing something that they deemed as gay, they would call them, they would say like, oh, you acting like they would call them a homo, right? But sometimes dudes would say Mo for short, referring to homo, right? And so when I first got back home and I heard people saying Mo, it took me a minute to adjust, like, this is now, Mo is the new Joe, right? And I had to explain it to somebody. They was like, yo, why it seems like you so awkward with when people say Mo? I was like, yeah, because I'm still turning off that New York part of me to understand that they're not saying it as an insult, right? Like they're just speaking in general, like, well, what up, Mo? And it's just like they're not trying to be funny or disrespectful when they say it, because the dudes who I knew before, when they would say that, that's what they were doing. So it took a minute to kind of acclimate. And okay, so Steph has never heard it, right? So it's like it wasn't. And I think, I'm like, number one, you would never hear me say it, Steph. So there's part of it. And then most of the times when dudes was saying it, they was being like wild disrespectful. Like they were not being funny with it. They were being disrespectful. So that's a good sign that no one was saying around you, because they weren't trying to disrespect you. But like, I definitely had heard it a few times. So that was probably the most awkward joint. But outside of that, man, I don't know. I'm still trying to understand. I don't really know the logic behind why we call hot dogs glizzies in the DMV. That's another one that when I hear it, I'm like, I don't know why we call it this, but that feel right. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it bothers me. It's just I don't really know the story behind why we call it glizzies. I haven't also asked. I know a bunch of OGs and younger folk who I could probably get the breakdown from. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Another question. All right. Let's see. Going through. I remember you touching a bit on that in the past. Word. Yeah, I feel like I brought that up before. Music has to be one of the most powerful forces and tools humans have ever created. Nah, super facts. Absolutely. Hey, happy Friday, Michael. What's going on, man? Que paso. All right. Let's see. Interesting how that works. Yeah, man. That's fair for me. I cringe every time I hear someone say "go ham." Right. I wonder how people who don't eat pork for religious reasons feel about saying that. I wonder if they use that as slang. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he went ham. It's like, I don't know. Stupid question. I don't know. It's something that crossed my mind. Just curious. Let's see. Oh, that would have been handled. I don't play that. Nah, absolutely. I know. Let's see. Here's a question. What is the meaning of bop alloy? How you and Marcus create that concept? Great question. Thank you for that question. So, yeah, man, so I actually came up with the name bop alloy. I had a couple of different name ideas. And so what got us to the point where we needed a name was my former, he wasn't my manager. He was my agent for all things Japan, right? He helped me. I just read one of the comments. I'm going to adjust that in a second. Yeah, man. So basically, the representation I had for all things Japan back in the day, he liked the idea of me and Marcus doing more stuff together when I pitched it to him. And I told him that I feel like we should kind of come up with a group name, because I really felt like it was going to be big. Like I felt like it was going to be definitely a notable thing that we were going to put out there. You know what I mean? In terms of the music we were going to make together, the impact it would have, the lasting effects of it. I feel like I could see all of that before we did it. And so I told them, I was like, that being said, we should put a name on it. I don't think we should just be out here Substantial and Marcus D. I think we can come up with a name, and just so people know it's us, we can do Substantial and Marcus D or Bob Alloy as the title. And but this was before I had the name. I just came up with a bunch of different things, and I wanted it to be something that summed up what it was we did sonically. And so bop was just short for bebop, which was a style of jazz that like also influenced hip hop and other types of music. And then you had alloy. Alloy is it's a metal that it's different types of metals, right? Like molded together to create something stronger, right? And so basically bop alloy was like, saying like jazz fusion, right? Like a jazz fusion, we infuse the hip hop that we make with jazz to make like a stronger product, to make a stronger form of art, right? To present something new. And so that was that was the logic behind the joint. And so I ran it with Marcus. Marcus was digging it. My agent at the time for Japan was not. He was talking to me about how he believed it would be difficult for people in Japan to get the name right, like in terms of pronunciation, because of the L's that were in it. And I had to remind him that although he represented me in Japan, I'm like, fam, like I make music all over the world. Like, that's just a small part. I know it's a part of the foundation in terms of my professional career. And I'm glad I said that, because although a lot of people connect my music with Japan all the time, Japan is not even in my top 5 markets in terms of, I don't even know if it's in my top 10 markets in terms of countries where my music streams and sells the most. It might be in my top 10, but it's definitely not in my top 5 anymore. And so that being said, these are the things you got to think about, like with your career, right? Like, not making a certain decision solely because how this might reflect in one particular way, especially if it's not an offensive thing, right? Like understanding that this group over here might not fully understand or be able to kind of say what it is you're doing, but like your idea serves a larger purpose, right? So it's not about what one group of people can or can't, or how they receive it. It's about you being the most authentic and making sure you come up with something that best represents what it is you're doing. And that's what was the goal. So me and Marcus were on the same page about it, although the agent wasn't. And we decided to go with it. And luckily, it worked out, man. And people still love the name, still love the music, still ask us, pretty much at least once or a few times a week when something new is coming out. Fun fact, Marcus D just sent me a batch of beats yesterday or the day before. So more Bop Alloy is on the way. I'm doing something for his record. There's something that I'm gonna pull from him for the second part of Adultish, because the first part will be all my beats, and then there's gonna be like a second part that will have beats from other people. All right, let's keep it moving. Never. This is what I was laughing at before. Never go have vegans be like they went mushroom. Yo, I got a friend who's vegan. She never says piggyback. Like she be dead serious, and it's so dope because she's probably, in terms of how she talks and how she carries herself, I feel like she's like, she feels like one of the hardest females I know, one of the hardest women I know. So like, she'll be dead ass serious. We'll be talking, and she'll agree with something you say. She'll be like, yo, real quick, let me veggie back off the stand. And just will keep talking like she ain't just say veggie back instead of piggyback. So like, yo, there are people out here who be like that for real. It's a thing. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so okay, so next, since you have a lot more experience in design, have you dabbled in NFTs? We never covered anything like that in GDM, so I don't understand it. Got you. So yeah, man, it's funny you mentioned that. I have at least one lengthy conversation every week at this point about NFTs, right? In terms of how to navigate the metaverse, how to create them, whether or not, how good or bad it is for the planet. Of course, it has its effects in terms of the energy usage and things of that nature. However, it's important to know that we're very much in the early parts of this, right? And ultimately, most things started, like cars weren't and still aren't the best for the planet. And eventually technology gets to a point where they make a better car, so it's less harmful to the planet, right? And I think the same we'll see with NFTs and all of that. So I haven't created any NFTs yet, but it's definitely something that I'm considering for the future. I just made this. It's funny, it just reminded me there's some paperwork I got to fill out today. But I do have some plans in terms of hip hop and the metaverse that I'm working on with some folks, and trying to find out other ways that I can create content in that space. Because as someone said to me the other day, like Web3 right now is starting to become, or it already is, like the new internet. And as somebody who was early, like was onto this internet stuff early, back when it wasn't cool to do, like I understand the importance of having a great understanding of this and how it can benefit my career long term, right? And just as an artist, I'm always trying to find new ways to explore what I do and share what I do. And I'm always trying to think of, when these new things come up, what are some things that I don't see happening that I can introduce to that space. And so it is something I'm thinking about. I don't know if my understanding is that much more vast or clear than the average person. I would say it's definitely more so than the average person, but I'm not out here claiming to be the one, right? Like I have all the answers, and I'm still figuring it out. That's why I haven't just kind of immediately leaped on it. I've been having these conversations almost weekly for 2 to 3 years. And when it comes to cryptocurrency, I've been having these conversations even longer. I just haven't taken the plunge a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes over research things, but yeah. All right. God was pushing all those questionable albums for the sing. Yeah, man. Let's see. And on that note, have you ever done anything with crypto or whatever it's called? So to answer the question, not yet, but it's definitely in the plans. All right. It's about music. Word. Word, yeah. So, like I said, there's Adultish will be in 2 parts. Where the first part will be all tracks that I produce. A second version of it will be tracks produced by other people. Marcus D will absolutely be involved in that. And maybe he'll play on the original version, the the first version, you know. Thanks for that great answer, Stan. I'm waiting for new stuff and maybe Winter Breaks 3. We'll see. All right. I'll remind Marcus, but we were talking about putting the vinyl version of Winter Breaks 1 and 2 out together as 2 volumes. But word, yep. I definitely got it, but I knew other people didn't know. I should have explained it, my bad. One last one, all right? One last one. What was the worst injury you've had on some of your most prominent scares? That's a great question. So the worst injury I've had probably in the last year or maybe the last 10 years is that right there that you see on my arm, right? I don't know how close I can get it. Hold on. Right. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that right there is a scar that I got riding one wheel. That video I posted where I say like, wait for it. And then you hear that big bang sound or whatever. Number one, the one wheel weighs nearly 40 pounds. And I was doing about 19 miles an hour on it going uphill, which is never a good idea because depending on how you were taught to ride, most people are taught that you lean forward. You lean forward in order to go forward. When in actuality, you can apply pressure with your legs while keeping your body centered and not really leaning your body forward. You can just kind of use your legs to apply pressure to the front while keeping your body straight. It's kind of like in martial arts, we do similar things, right? And so, but my teacher, he wasn't present, and this is early when I started riding. So I'm leaning forward, going 19 miles an hour, and the front, I hit like a little bump, and the front of the one wheel digs into the ground, like just goes into the ground and just comes to an immediate stop. And I go flying through the air. I look like Jazzy Jeff being thrown out of Uncle Phil's house, out of the Banks residence. And I go flying in the air, and I land with my arm first. Luckily, I had wrist guards and everything, but I didn't have elbow pads. So I didn't hit my elbow, but I hit this part. But if I had elbow pads, this would have been covered. And so anyway, I hit my hand first, and then my arm, I literally go sliding across the ground with that part of my arm hitting first. And then my helmet, like my head just boom, like right into the ground and then bounces up. And so I had a mild concussion, some scrapes, like this real bad scrape on my arm. It looks like a burn. Like when you see it in person, it looks like I was burned or something. And then I still got some scars like on my side down here. You can feel it, like feel where those scars are, the whole nine. So now I still ride one wheel, but now I only ride with purpose, right? Like if I got somewhere to go, like a short run to make locally, and I don't want to take the car, which is a good idea considering it's an electric thing, and I don't have to put no gas in my one wheel. And if I'm not picking up a lot of stuff, I just ride my one wheel to go get that stuff and then come home. But yeah, like, and then sometimes I'll ride for fun if I'm riding with a group, right? Or riding with a few people. But, or like I'm hanging out with the family or something like that, like on the weekend or something, right? And then we're in a park. But like just kind of every day going out, let me ride the one wheel for a little bit. Nah, I don't do that. Because I feel like I started experimenting and exploring and blah, blah, blah. And that day when I got hurt, that's exactly what I was doing. I had no purpose to ride that day. I just wanted to ride for fun. And I found myself trying things, setting up the camera, not like to record myself doing things. And that's not why I got it. I really got it because I was like, when I want to do little local stuff and I don't need a car, I want to just be able to hop on that. And in case we do move and we move into a place where like we don't have a car immediately, but I need to make short runs that are maybe like a couple miles and I need to get there a bit quicker than walking, I have this, right? And so, yeah, man, but that injury was real. Like, and on top of that, I messed my shoulder up. I might have tore something. I never went to the hospital. I absolutely should have went to the hospital. But I feel like I might have tore something because like I didn't have full range. Like I couldn't lift my arm higher than that, right? Like to go all the way up was very painful for like at least 3 months. So it was real. Yeah, man. But great question. Appreciate it. Let's get. Oh yeah, man. It's almost 1:30. I gotta get out of here, son. Yo, Warpath do it every time, man. It'd be Warpath fault. You know what I'm saying? I'll just be in it, answering y'all questions, hanging out, like I ain't got something to do. Are there any business decisions that you wish you could do over? Yes. Probably two. There's some I don't regret. There's a few that I wish I could get back. The best advice I would have to any young artist that's blessed enough to start traveling early in their career is some advice that my old agent gave me, which was, make sure you set it up so you can start getting your frequent flyer miles and put certain things in place to make your travel a bit easier, and that you can monetize that travel, right? So you can use it for other things, be able to use it for your family, vacations, other things to save you a bit of money. So that's something I wish I took heed to early on, because I probably missed out on like 4 different trips to Japan out the gate, which easily was like, we're talking about tens of thousands of miles I missed out on, right? Which would have been like multiple round trip flights to different places. So it could have saved me thousands of dollars so early on. So just that, and financial literacy, man, just the biggest thing I just wish, I wish as a kid, my family knew the importance of financial literacy early on, because that's something I had to, it's not that my mom didn't teach me about certain things, but most of my lessons dealing with money early in my career were hard lessons because I didn't necessarily understand what financial literacy was. I knew how to make money. I didn't always know how to invest it or how to keep it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's definitely something I wish I could get back. Let's see. Oh yeah, definitely prominent scar. Man, that had to hurt like hell. Bruh, hurt is not a strong enough word. I don't think I screamed. I think it happened too fast for me to realize what was happening. When I think about it in my mind, it plays back in slow-mo. But when it happened, it's seconds, like, and not even a bunch of seconds. Like, I feel like it was 5 seconds tops, like all of that happened. And it's crazy. It's amazing how hurt you can get in a few short seconds, you know? Let's see. Yes. Damn, I missed out on my points so many years ago. Got started too late. Super facts. All right. All right, man, let me get out of here. Oh, let's see. One last, your top 3 of your own albums. And someone, Mike, definitely The Past Is Always Present is in the future is my favorite of my albums. I would say Home Is Where the Art Is as well. And then if I had to pick between the 2 Bob Alloy albums, I know everybody loves the first the most, but the second is the one I'm more proud of. The second, because I think we were in the first, we knew what we wanted to accomplish, but we were messing around, like just figuring it out as we were going. And then I had to rewrite half the album because I had lost a lot of the raps when I lost my book of rhymes in Amsterdam. And then the second album, we were so clear on what it was we wanted to do. Like, we had the beats for that album a good year before I wrote a single rhyme. And because we really just took time to put the record together in terms of how it was going to flow before I even started writing it. And then I started really going in, tackling certain subject matter, taking my time and figuring it out. And so those are probably my top 3 right now. The Past Is Always Present in the Future, Home Is Where the Art Is, and Another Day in the Life Of, which, by the way, we're resolving this one issue with one of the songs. One of the songs had to be removed because of a copyright infringement. And so we're going to re-release it on digital streaming platforms, but minus one of the songs. So just giving you heads up on that. That'll happen sooner than later. We'll keep you posted. But on that note, I'm out of here, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. As you can see at the banner below, if you don't mind donating to the channel, donating to me, it just helps to fund the day-to-day, all of the different stuff that I'm doing. For those who don't understand how music works, most artists are not making money as they make music. That's why so many people set up Patreon and other things to help fund what they do. So by you donating to the channel, it allows me to keep a little bit of money flowing through things while I'm working hard on this next project to give you. And of course, you don't have to, but it is always appreciated. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all so much per usual, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe out there, and let me get out of this joint. But, man, thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see you soon, but talk to you soon, y'all. Peace, 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 peace.